After being arrested, Mulder, in his new body, has to ingratiate himself to the enemy, convincing them he's not a traitor.
Of course, that's on top of trying to be a husband and father at home, is something he is absolutely not built for.
This is not happening.
Welcome to the show. This is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast. I'm your host, Mike. Along with me, as always, my good friend, Andrew. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
Here we are.
Trying to get this two-parter done.
Yeah, it's as we said before, it's the first two-parter that is not a mythology episode. And some interesting things in this one. I mean, ultimately, I'm not going to spoil it by telling you I did not like how this one resolves, but that is a writing problem. That is not an execution problem. They are excellent with everything else, but the script just leaves me hanging here.
I have been waiting 2 weeks to hear your hot take on this episode.
Hot take?
Hot take, Andrew.
It's called Deus Ex Machina is what it is. It's like, how do we get ourselves out of this shit show we've written ourselves into? Oh, yeah, it was all a dream. That's what we had.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Worth noting, this one was directed by Michael Watkins, and we have not seen him direct before. This is his first gig as a director for the X-Files. He goes on to do Tithonius and Arcadia, and then 3 more in season 7.
So far, all very good episodes.
Yeah.
Despite what you have to say.
Well, I haven't said anything about Tithonius and Arcadia, but I'm sure I will have opinions on those too.
Oh, most likely. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you say we jump in to this episode here? We are, of course, live on Discord. Everyone, if you're not listening live, you should check us out sometime.
That's right. The party is hot in the chat. I got some opinions to be had here, I'm sure. But they are probably not all as acrimonious as mine.
Well, we open with a voiceover from Morris Fletcher. It speaks to Mulder's life from a young age to now. How, when his sister disappeared, his life turned upside down. While doing extremely well at Oxford and the FBI Academy, he slowly lost his mind. He began believing in aliens, conspiracies, and essentially has flushed his career down the toilet. The camera shows us old family footage of Mulder and Samantha with Mom. It pans over his office decor and arrives on a man in a suit. We see Mulder's badge, but when it pans up, we see that it is indeed Morris Fletcher handling the files and a sneaky grin on his face. The voiceover continues. That's all about to change.
He's getting a second chance, and Fox Mulder is going to get messed up.
Fun little opener.
Yeah. We haven't seen this kind of style before, the whole movie recollection event.
Yeah. And it gives us something we pretty much could piece together at the end of the first episode was that, Fletcher is very much interested in abandoning his life and accepting this new gift he's been given in Mulder's body. So
yeah,
he's accepting his newfound freedom.
Yeah. And this is something they're going to have a lot of fun with. Again, Mulder is going to be not as much this episode. He's not tasked with being as much of a father, husband as he was in the part 1, but it's still here. Mm-hmm. Certainly we see more of Morris Fletcher's hijinks and being a single man out on the prowl.
Yeah. Well, we come back and Mulder is being hauled away as he was at the end of Dreamland 1, hauled away by soldiers and is shoved into the back of a Jeep. Morris tries to comfort Scully and apologizes for turning her in. But she tells him he's done the right thing. She's been telling him for years to play more by the books. And the two walk off. Mulder's now in chains at Area 51's brig. He's being escorted by 2 soldiers into a glass cage. Suddenly, he hears laughter from the glass cell next to him. It's the Native American woman, or Maverick. She lights a cigarette and makes small talk. But when Mulder calls her ma'am, she gets offended and tells him to kiss her ass.
Yeah, Captain McDonough is definitely sitting in a most unladylike way. Not exactly classy.
She does such a good job in this episode. I really like her casting. At the FBI headquarters in Washington, we're at the bullpen, and Morris is playing Tiger Woods golf. Scully comes in from a meeting with Kirsch. Immediately, she begins cleaning her stuff. She's got a 2-week suspension without pay for her actions. Morris pours it on a bit thick here. You're not serious. As she heads out the door, he stops her and suggests maybe a home-cooked meal might ease her pain. The two agree to meet up at his place for dinner.
I gotta ask, like, she knows him. She knows his lifestyle. Like, what is that meal going to be? Is it craft dinner? Is it a takeout?
Macaroni and cheese.
I've just discovered an X-File. It's a recipe I have just uncovered. It has plastic packet filled with dried cheese sauce and dried
No, not
macaroni.
cheese sauce. It is Tombs bile that you pour over your pasta.
Yeah. It's delectable.
It's probably like the macaroni and cheese with little alien heads designed pasta.
Yes, UFO Gettys. It should be for sale. If they're not.
That should be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we get a sense that he is going to start making a move on Scully because he's got no shame. And despite being a married man, he's 100% moved into his role here.
Yes.
He's Mulder now.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So we go back to the brig. Mulder's lying down, being forced to listen to Lana Chi as Maverick talk about her flight stories.
There's a real flying backseat. And I'm thinking, hell, man, I'm going to give this Cherry the ride of his life. So I'm putting the spurs to her, and I'm doing a little hassling with my wingman, Bosso. Now, Bosso...
Hey, Maverick, would you mind?
Hold up. Bosso gets on my zero. He's right on my zero. And when Bosso gets on your zero,
Maverick?
it's like a damn dog tick.
Maverick.
You ain't shaking that son of a gun.
Hey, Grandma Top Gun, will you shut the hell up?
You're my bitch now, pencil neck.
Oh, Maverick.
Oh, Maverick. Being sneaky, being goofy,
That
flicking
said-
her cigarette at him.
I don't know if somebody being on your zero is a thing in aircraft parlance. I know that people can be on your six, which is a bad
Six,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. But being on your zero, maybe Captain
That's
McDonald
right.
has a concussion.
Right on you, apparently.
Yeah.
No room, right on you.
Yep. He's right there in front of you. Can't get rid of him.
Mulder is then escorted out of his cell by two soldiers and brought to General Wegman. We cut to the office with the black box on the table. Wegman, along with Howard and Jeff, commends Mulder. You've got a set on you. The men surmise that Mulder gave the FBI the wrong flight data recorder. The one on the desk is from a scrapped F-11. Why didn't he let them know he was running a scam on the FBI? Mulder has to think on his toes and comes up with the he didn't know if he could trust them argument. They have a leak, and he wanted to find out what they knew. When Howard questions why he didn't just tell them when he was being arrested, he says, "You wouldn't have believed me until you figured it out for yourselves." They confirm the actual flight data recorder is safe and ask Mulder to bring it back. Wegman laughs, impressed with Mulder's boldness, and then turns to chastise Howard. Clearly, he didn't do his investigation before he drug Mulder's name through the mud. Wegman tells him to report to the review panel in Washington and that he's recommended him for censure.
Damn.
Howard's career is going down the toilet.
It's bad days for Howard. He's going to be regretting that he ever messed with Morris Fletcher.
Yeah. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
It looks like everything's going to be just fine, Mike.
Yes. Not a thing could go wrong here.
Yes.
Well, we go now to Mulder's apartment. Fletcher comes home with groceries for the night's meal, complete with mood lighting for the bedroom. He goes to open Mulder's bedroom door only to have junk fall out when he opens it. It's piled high, and the scene ends with him making fun of Mulder.
Well, okay, here's the thing. How long has Morris Fletcher been in Mulder's body?
Maybe a day or two. Probably
So
longer.
where
But
has he slept in Mulder's apartment? Where did he have sex
maybe,
with?
possibly. It was all in the living room for that day or so.
Where did he have sex with Kirsch's secretary?
We don't know that they had sex.
It is heavily implied.
They definitely allude to sexual things, but a lot of stuff can
He has
happen
the classic
in and
tie
around the
skew.
pants.
He's got the lipstick on the lips.
That's true.
He did
That's
it.
true. Maybe he
my
got a
friend.
Hummer. I don't know. Hummers can be had anywhere.
That's true. You don't need a bedroom for that.
You don't
Fair
need
enough.
much.
All I want to say is that he's been there, and
He has been there.
he
it's
looks
a little
like
less-
a bed sleeping kind of guy. So
Yeah.
the idea that now he's surprised at the garbage that falls out of that bedroom, I'm not sure by it. But anyway, that is
Yeah.
not the greatest of this episode's sin.
No.
Mhm.
Actually, I disagree. Yes, it is.
It is the worst part.
It is
Okay,
the
fair
worst
enough.
part. Well, we go now to Fletcher's home. Mulder pulls up and gets out of his car. As he enters the house, he clocks a sedan nearby, pulling off the road and stopping down a ways. He has unsuccessful interactions with not just one, but both of his children. His son Terrence informing him that his mom is going to get a restraining order. When he gets inside, he peers out the window once again at the sedan. Joanne scolds him as she enters the room. His stuff is all outside. She tells him to get out and to go tell his story to Special Tramp Data Scully.
I think that should be her new ID.
Yeah.
Special
I would like to
Tramp.
see that on her. Yeah, I would like to see that on her badge from now on.
Def.
Mulder tries to be truthful and honest with her here. He tells her his name is Fox Mulder. Dana is his FBI partner. He's trying to get back to his life. She obviously doesn't believe him and accuses him of having a midlife crisis. He shows her the sedan down the road and tells her that they're tailing him because they don't trust him. Fletcher has a very dangerous job. And if Mulder's taken out right now, then her husband will be taken out as well because they won't be able to get things back to the way they were. Once again, Joanne brings up the issue to reality and cluelessness. If you don't like the man you've become, I don't blame you. But this flight from reality isn't the answer. And she tells him to accept himself no matter how repulsive he may be. She just doesn't get it, Andrew. Yes, sir.
Question for the. Yeah, well, how does Mulder know that this? You know, if I die, we can't get things back. I mean, I suppose it stands to
Well,
reason.
it's just logic, right?
Yeah, but maybe if he dies, that snaps out of the space-time continuum back.
That's
into
a
play
hell of a
because-
risk, Andrew. Are you just going to off yourself to see if it works?
I mean, have you seen the life he's
Well,
projected to live now?
but he's alive,
like
Andrew.
something-
He's alive.
And Joanne Fletcher she's not bad. She's clearly interested in doing it, if you know what I mean.
Clearly. That
I mean,
is
that's how she's
the
been
number
cast
one
in
thing.
1998 is can't get enough housewife, which is a terrible trope. But
Terrible
yeah,
trope.
All right.
Fletcher's obviously
yes.
not emotionally available for her.
Yeah, he's clearly not around. So she is not buying his story. How on earth will he prove it to her, Mike?
I don't know. We'll find out, though.
We've got 20 minutes to find out.
20 minutes? Are we that far already? I think we're pretty close.
We may not be that far. Maybe it's more like 30 minutes. There's a lot of runway.
A little bit. Well, Scully knocks on Mulder's door, and Fletcher answers in a chef's apron. He's cleaned the entire apartment to Scully's surprise. He walks her straight to the bedroom to show that off as well.
Favorite part.
It is a beautiful
Come take a look
room
at
now,
this.
Andrew, complete with a 4-poster bed. He invites her to check out the bed, and to her surprise, it's a waterbed. The two collapse onto their backs and stare up at the ceiling, the mirrored ceiling that
mirrored
he has
ceiling.
changed. They do a visual gag here where David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson are actually on the bed together for a moment before
Right.
cutting back to Fletcher and Scully.
Yeah, I forgot that part. Good stuff.
He leaves the room briefly while she stays. Sure enough, he heads to the kitchen for an ice bucket and champagne. As he dances his way back to the bedroom, he sings, both in bass and a cappella, "Let's Get It On," closing the bedroom door with his foot as he prances back inside. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Excellent scene. I love this scene. It's so ridiculous.
It's very good Michael McKean, but
Yeah.
it's solidifying its place as a comedy for sure.
Yes. Well, we fade back in on the mirrored ceiling, showing Anderson and Duchovny together, laughing. As the camera pans down and curls around one of the bedposts, we see it now as Fletcher and Scully. He's getting more champagne, and she asks him a question. You know what would be really fun? She holds up her handcuffs to Fletcher's unbridled delight. She tells him he gets to go first and hands him the cuffs. He begins putting them on and giddily exclaims that it's his first time. He attaches the other cuff to the bed, and as he looks back to ask her what's next, he sees she has her gun drawn on him. This, of course, ruins his plans. With the pop of the champagne cork, his moment is shot. Scully threatens him. She's finally put it all together. You're not Mulder. She calls him Morris Fletcher. She asks him how to get things back to normal, but he doesn't know. And if he did know, he wouldn't do it anyway. His whole family is a pain in his ass. As far as he's concerned, this whole thing is a gift from heaven. As he protests his life and the annoyances of his job, Scully is unimpressed. When he tells her no one will believe her, she threatens to shoot him. She asks about Mulder's source. How do we get in touch with him? And with one more denial of anything, Mulder's phone then begins to ring. The answering machine starts playing. After a brief sensual away message posted by the new Mulder, the source begins leaving a message, once again trying to get a hold of Mulder. She points at the phone with her gun for Fletcher to pick up. He does, and she listens in. The tables are turning on Fletcher here.
So I gotta ask.
Yeah.
This is the moment that she realizes it's not Mulder? I mean,
I think she was choosing her moment. She needed to be doubly sure.
I know at some point the episode needed to turn on this. I just okay, here's what makes it better for me. I mean, this is one of the things I don't like about this thread is that she's like confronted by all this bullshit, that this is not Mulder. Mulder would never be like this, slapping her ass, calling her Dana, having casual sex, abandoning the X-Files. This list of things that is not Mulder. And now in episode 2 of the two-parter, now he's clearly gone over it by trying to have sex with her, and like it's possibly the most believable thing, except for the manner in which he does. But that is now going to be what convinces her that this is not him.
And I understand what you're saying. I do get it. It is a lot of stuff, but you do have to take into account that it's Scully, and it takes a lot for her to be swayed. And even after she has overwhelming evidence of paranormal stuff, she does not. She doesn't give in.
Obviously, yeah.
I don't know. I do see what you're saying, but
yes,
it's easy to wave away, in my opinion.
It is certainly easy to wave away, like much of this episode. The other thing I really like about the scene that they've created is the whole bedroom aesthetic. There's a leopard print blanket on the waterbed.
He went to IKEA or Ashley Furniture in between work that day and now.
I am really surprised the bed does not rotate.
Just the Austin Powers bed. Oh, man. A lava lamp.
Yeah, exactly.
Back inside Fletcher's house, Mulder sits at the window, blinds drawn, peeking out at the sedan. He's been camped out here for a while. Joanne comes into the room asking him what's going on. First he wanted to get away, now he won't leave. After a moment, he asks where they can go. He suggests they go somewhere with a lot of people. He smiles and puts a hand on her face. I didn't know how to take this. It's almost like he's playing with her because he wants to get away from the sedan, but he's also being kind, and it comes off like he's kind of toying with her emotions a little bit. And I don't know if... I think
he needs an ally. So I'm willing to go with it for that idea that he's like, oh, I need to mend fences here, if only for my long-term survival. But
right.
My issue with what's going to happen is the serendipity with which all the characters descend on the same place. And I get that, it's what is it? Rachel Nevada. It's not a big place. There's only so many places to go, but it's convenient for the plot that they all congregate on the same place to have the next scene. So,
yeah.
Little Alien. That's a great name.
All right, let's run through this one more time.
I'll go in there alone, just like he told me to. He'll be wearing a blue Buffalo Bills cap.
And?
And if I try and slip out the back door, da-da-da-dee-dee-dee.
Keep going.
Can't we start over? Do that thing with the handcuffs. Maybe, probably not your scene.
Fletcher walks in slowly, scanning the scene. He passes out of frame. Behind the bar is a mirror, and the camera closes in, showing Mulder, Fletcher, walking around, looking and passing Fletcher, Mulder, who is sitting with Joanne at the bar. They don't notice each other. Fletcher eventually reaches a corner booth and the contact, the man with the Buffalo Bills cap. He immediately clocks him as General Wegman and lets out an excited, "You're the guy?" Probably one of the best sound clips ever in this episode or TV show. I don't know. It's so classic Michael McKean.
Yeah, it's marvelous.
It
is the wonderful reveal, right? Like,
yeah.
I like that they're humanizing the Man in Black.
Oh, absolutely.
They're almost as much in the dark as the agents are, but this is a good example.
One of my points at the end of the episode. But yes, the fact that it is the general makes it even that much better, because it's almost like a clumsy disguise he's got worked out here. It's not very Man in Black at all. It's not a secluded walkway. It's just a crowded bar in a ball cap. So
I love the Buffalo Bills. What are you talking about?
Well, Wegman grabs Fletcher and forces him to sit down as Fletcher's shock goes unmasked. Two men in suits arrive, and Mulder quickly excuses himself, leaving Joanne alone. Meanwhile, Fletcher and Wegman talk. He disabled the stealth modules so Mulder could see the craft, but he didn't intend for it to crash. Outside, Mulder creeps around the cars and notices Scully. He goes to her car and opens the passenger door. She rightly assumes it's the real Mulder, although she can't get past his appearance. Back inside, Fletcher and Wegman continue. He's brought the flight data recorder, and it's at his feet. Joanne now goes looking for Morris and heads out the front door, calling for him. Then she sees it. He's in a car with special tramp Dana Scully. She re-enters the bar in a huff and sits at the bar, sobbing to herself. In the back of the shot, we see Fletcher smiling and getting up from his seat with the paper bag containing the flight data recorder. As he goes to leave, his eyes catch his wife at the bar. His jubilation quickly fades to dark concern. He hasn't seen his wife like this in a long time. Jeff then enters and speaks to the two suited men, but they haven't seen anything. Fletcher ducks into the bathroom. Jeff speaks to Joanne, who, once Mulder re-enters the bar, takes her drink and throws it in his face. This is unsurprising to Mulder, who admits he makes a lousy husband. He goes to clean himself up and enters the bathroom himself. For the showdown, Andrew. When he looks in the sink mirror, he notices himself behind himself, standing with the paper bag. The two men engage each other.
So you're the guy that wants my life.
I assume that includes all the ass kickings?
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, I do.
Jeff's outside.
So what?
If he sees us together, we're both dead. Especially when he sees this.
A paint can?
You take that to Scully right now.
You must have some sort of waxy buildup. I said Jeff's here. No way am I going out there until he leaves. You sneak it past him. You're his buddy.
His buddy? He doesn't trust me as far as he could throw me. You saw to that.
Oh, we're starting. Sorry. There we go.
are stopping.
Boom.
No, you're good.
I was invested, man. I was engaged.
You were invested.
in the scene.
Such a good scene.
It is.
Well, Mulder kicks his ass and the episode ends. But
Yeah, that's right. He kills him, and he's unable to return to his body.
nope.
It's a shame,
They
really.
just drag a lifeless corpse into the desert and bury it.
Weekend at Bernie's right there.
Wegman finishes his beer, leaves his money, and gets up. It's here that he sees Jeff and the two suited men. He also then ducks into the bathroom. Inside, though, it's mysteriously quiet. He paces back and forth, trying to figure out what he's going to do. And after a moment, the heads of both Mulder and Fletcher peer over the wooden partition of the toilet stall. Wegman quietly turns his head towards them, sensing their presence. I like the hey.
It's so funny. It's ridiculous, which makes it hilarious.
Yeah. Outside, Scully enters the bar to see Joanne at the bar talking to Jeff. Wegman hurries out of the bathroom in front of her. He breezes past Jeff and summons him to follow. Outside, he looks around and tells the men to detain a dark silhouette nearby. It's Mulder as Fletcher. As they descend on him, they ask to see what's in his bag. He shows them it is indeed just a six-pack of beer. Wegman and Mulder exchange a look of recognition as Fletcher and Scully pull away unscathed. Side note, I want to give a shout out to the awesome X-Files community. Many of us over the years had looked up the song playing during this scene. I know I did several times over the years, and it has a great hook, and we wanted to know where it came from. And sure enough, in 2023, we finally got a hold of the composers somehow. They had no idea that people wanted to figure out what the song was for 25 years. But it looks like we got a hold of them, and they were able to dig through the junk in their house to find this one CD that had it on there. So I just want to pay tribute to Dan Marfisi and Glenn Jordan, the writers of the track.
But they did it specifically for the episode, too. And I think they did it on really short notice. They needed it to be done.
They did it in like 4 hours or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent track. You can actually buy it on a lot of platforms, including Apple Music.
Does that
Good
say something
stuff
about how easy it is to make cowboy music?
Well, I didn't want to do that, but I mean, it could. It could. Good track,
Yeah,
and I do recall looking
it sets
it up.
a scene for sure.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's, I guess, cheaper than getting rights for something.
right. And now they're probably making money on it. Good money.
I hope they are.
So we go now to the lone gunman office. They're eating dinner. Scully and Fletcher show up with the flight data recorder.
I gotta say, I kind of want 10 minutes of the lone gunman eating dinner. That's what I want to see.
We need your help right now.
Who crashed?
Who? What? Why? Need to know everything that's on that data recorder.
Similar in size and shape to the FDRs on the SR-71.
Oh, that's definitely not standard issue.
Where did you get this?
Groom Lake, outside Area 51.
Dreamland.
The Aurora spy plane.
What's that?
Black World. Top secret. A skunk works special.
Aurora is a hypersonic reconnaissance aircraft fueled with slush hydrogen.
Or methocyclohexane.
What's with him?
You guys like the name? I'm going to go with either Aurora or Borealis.
What the hell's he talking about?
Mulder.
He's not Mulder.
Huh?
We think the crash of this particular aircraft, whatever it was, resulted in a,
My name is Morris Fletcher. I work inside Area 51. I assumed Mulder's identity through a warp in the space-time continuum.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, little man, I ain't him.
Oh, I love you guys. I really do. I mean, you're the lone gunman, aren't you? You guys are my heroes. I mean, look at this crap you print.
We uncover the truth.
The truth. Well, see, that's what's so great about you monkeys. Not only do you believe this horse bucky that we create, you broadcast it as well. I mean, look at this. There is no Saddam Hussein. This guy's name is John Gilnitz. We found him doing dinner theater in Tulsa. Did a mean King and I. Plays good ethnics.
You're trying to say that Saddam Hussein's a government plant?
I'm saying I invented the guy. We set him up in 79. He rattles his saber whenever we need a good distraction. If you boys only knew how many of your stories I dreamed up while sitting on the pod.
What stories?
Oh, I'm sorry, Melvin. That's classified.
The name's Frohickey, you punk ass. What the hell you do with Mulder?
Shut up, all of you. If you guys want Mulder back, give me these results.
It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Oh, yes. We can just play
Such
all
a
the
good
Lone
scene.
Gunmen all the time.
Such a good scene. I chose that particularly long scene just because there's a lot of techno stuff in there, but easier to listen to than describe. And it's such a pleasure to watch Michael McKean really jump into dealing with the Lone Gunman, because he is such stark contrast to their kind of laid back ways. And he's a complete dick to him, but it is exactly how you'd expect this guy to react.
When Fletcher says, I assumed Mulder's identity through a warp in the space-time continuum, that was the point where I was like, yes, that is in fact what happened. This is a ridiculous episode, but this is exactly what they wanted. They got it. It's working.
Yeah. I like when he says that, even the gunmen don't believe him. Like they look to Scully for the rational explanation, and she's like, no, what he said.
I don't think it's a coincidence that in the opener for this episode, young Fox Mulder is wearing a Spock Star Trek outfit. I think they are really leaning into space-time continuum as the MacGuffin for this.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, I should have mentioned at the time, that's our third young Fox Mulder stand-in.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Can't keep him young.
And it's not, Samantha's not either of her actresses either. So that's three, I think, for her.
It's true, yeah. She looks pretty good, though. She's a pretty good stand-in. Did you want to mention John Gilnitz?
Oh, yeah. The John Gilnitz character, obviously, as I said last time. Yeah. That name shows up whenever these three writers get together and make an episode. And there it is.
Shows up somewhere.
Shows up. Well, Mulder comes into Wegman's office. He's shredding documents. The two share a short discussion, and Wegman says he's done for. The real Fletcher knows he's the informant, and if this whole thing gets fixed, he'll be arrested. Mulder asks why he did this in the first place, and he begins to share that his priorities have changed in life. He's spent so long obscuring the truth and hiding it from the American people that he's essentially lost himself. Mulder asks what the truth is, and this kind of catches Wegman off guard a bit. You mean, you don't know? What are all these black budget projects? We don't build these birds, we just fly them. They're built somewhere up in Utah. His ignorance reaches a crescendo when he finally asks Mulder if aliens really exist. This is what the two episodes has been paying or leading up to. This whole the goal of getting into Area 51, this place that is so mysterious that everyone has so many conspiracy theories surrounding, and they know just as little as we do. I thought that was pretty good.
Yep.
So that is probably one of my favorite aspects.
The truth is not in there, is the long shot. Yep.
It's a good carpet pull moment, I think, for the two episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Back at the lone gunman office, they have made some progress, but still don't have a lot of answers. That night, a group of 3 teenagers are in the desert. They came across a black mailbox, which is conspicuously white. While man number 1 marvels at the black mailbox, the other guy begins making out with his girlfriend. The giddy man hears something in the distance, a rippling sound. Without warning, the aerial disturbance from the beginning of Dreamland I washes over them and continues onward. He turns around with his flashlight and shines it on his friends, who are now fused together, her arm coming out of the other man's back, their faces growing out of one another, a look of utter fear on his face.
This scene is in the wrong place.
That dude looks like Kid Rock. He does.
Yeah. I mean, they parachuted this in for a very specific reason.
Yes.
I have no fundamental problem with the scene other than they're not great actors, but I mean, they're extras, so that's what you get.
They're hamming it up.
But this scene is in the wrong place. It should be in Dreamland 1, and they should have more context throughout.
Thank you.
Because it doesn't make sense that the wave is still happening now, only for it to be
right.
It's there so that they can snap back later.
You are sucking the life out of my final thoughts, but that's okay. We'll talk about it now. I completely agree with that.
When we work close enough together for long enough, we end up mind melding and stealing each other's thoughts.
We do. Yeah. But I totally agree with what you're saying, because this begins the process of the episode kind of going back to the way things were. And I think it's too quick. Not only should this not have happened in this episode, but it's still going outward. So I guess my complaint is that I think all of the weird happenings should have happened in the first episode, and that this episode should have been a gradual undoing that maybe isn't noticed immediately, and then they realize what's happening. Yep. But yeah, with this right here at minute 30 of episode 2, it's just poor placement, and it makes the undoing of everything way too fast. So I totally agree.
The minute they started kissing, and I mean, it had been a while since I'd seen it, so I didn't remember what happened next, but the minute they started kissing, I was like, oh, they're going to fuse together and it's going to be gross. It's like, ew. It's tough being you. I also didn't remember that they were okay later, but anyway, it was like, you guys are toast. Ugh.
Well, we actually agree on that. That's kind of cool.
We totally agree on how terrible this episode is. My goodness.
How terrible? I wouldn't go that far. You lost me. Okay.
You're right there, man. Come to the dark side.
Fusing with Kid Rock would be horrible. Agreed, Matthew. Agreed. That would be god awful.
Ugh.
Well, somewhere else in the desert, Scully meets with Mulder at a sort of exchange. The two stand in the headlights of her sedan and share a conversation. She's spoken to the lone gunman, and although they can see there was an anomalous event, it's completely random. Even if they somehow recreated the moment, if anything was off by a millisecond, it wouldn't turn out right. With a resignation, he asks about Fletcher, who has become Kirsch's favorite agent. She just is tagging along at this point. She's been fired for her actions. Morris honks the horn and speeds them up, and Mulder contemplates murder. He offers her a small handful of his trademark sunflower seeds as the two part ways. As she and Fletcher pull away, leaving Mulder bathed in shadow, it appears all is lost. The all is lost moment.
Okay. They should not have had the kissing couple fusion scene and given us the scene of Scully being fired. I mean, that is such a big deal, and it would have been much better to watch than Kid Rock fusing with what's her name. But the fact that it happens off stage, I almost was like, well, yeah, she's on 2 weeks leave, but wait, fired. Oh, okay. Now we're having for why? What did she do that gets her fired? Because she's been playing ball up till now.
I think the 2 weeks leave is like a review panel or something. They put her on leave while they investigate what she's done. That's kind of how I took it.
That's fair. It's just, it was not clear. And I
No,
wish that we had that 2-minute scene of, again, we love watching Kirsch. So why not just have a bit more of that? But they wanted to have a gross moment. They're allowed.
Somewhere else in the desert, probably the same road they've been on for every other scene, a car drives down a dark highway in the desert, and a frantic man jumps in front of it, causing it to jam on its brakes. It's the man who was with his friends. He desperately talks to the driver, who is revealed to be Howard, and forces him to come with him. As the two men travel into the night on foot, he can barely get out the coherent thoughts as he describes something like a wave washing over them and his two friends that were entwined together. Her arm coming out of his back, their faces. Oh my God, you won't believe it. When they arrive at the two lovebirds, they are rolling around on the ground, making out, very much two separate beings. The guy can't believe it and swears they were messed up. Despite the fantastical claims, Howard says he believes him, a look of hope in his eyes.
How does guy number one remember that this has happened?
I don't know.
Is that the conceit of the episode, walking away from us? Because
the problem with the band thing is it's not consistent.
Yes.
Because ideally what would happen is that when it starts snapping back, everything gets undone. Therefore, all the memories are gone, whatever. So that obviously didn't happen. So my next question, and that's part of my final thoughts as well, is it a circle? Like it's radiating outward from the explosion, or is it like a line?
I mean,
that
I don't think we'd ever get an answer to that, and certainly a satisfactory one. It's convenient to the plot is the shape of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of a triangle. Like this flying saucer.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I just, this whole parachuting in of this scene for this revelation and to allow Howard to be the tool that undoes it is so weak for me. It's just, I sat there scrutinizing this, with my glasses down my nose and my furrowed brow going, why did you choose to go this way other than it is so easy? I was not impressed.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Okay.
Well, the next morning, Scully and Fletcher drive. It's a deserted highway still. He's having a grand old time talking about his new FBI gig and how much fun he's been having. She just stares. Something then catches her eye. It's the gas station that was blown up in Dreamland II. She gets out of the car to find it very much intact and heads inside as Fletcher awaits. The attendant, who was molded into the ground and shot in the head in the last episode, walks out. She tells him this place was burned to the ground 2 nights ago. He says he thinks he'd remember that, and confusion washes over her.
I think that there's a killer line for him to say, oh yeah, we rebuilt.
We rebuilt.
Insurance money came through.
We've got excellent insurance coverage. And
we're with all
the contractor is top notch.
He is so on. Yeah. Again, how does she remember this? How does she know? How does she have a memory?
She's supposed to. She is supposed to.
Yeah, it is ordained. Is how it is meant to be. She doesn't remember the UFO, but she does remember this gas station being destroyed.
I guess
she has selective memory, as is usually her way.
Scully, that is her way. So it is in keeping with her character.
It's a character. Okay, I'm good with it then.
We cut to the brig. Howard leads 2 guards along with the fighter pilot to Lana Chi's cell. They open the door. Back at Fletcher's house, Mulder's getting his daily dose of being yelled at by Joanne, who is kicking him out for good. Scully and Fletcher show up to the tense situation, and Joanne is not happy to see her. Mulder tries once more to convince her Fletcher is her husband. She continues trying to drag the recliner out of the front door, and Fletcher takes this moment to walk up to her. He does his best to do an about-face and convince her he's her husband, falling into the routine of telling her when they got married, how she got mad at him at the reception for telling her to move her fat ass, the first time she saw him cry when Chris was born. He begins to sob a bit himself as confusion and hope plaster her face. As she begins to accept the realization Mulder is Fletcher, our agents tell them they have to get going. Whatever did this is in the process of reversing itself. They need to be in its path. But before they can leave, soldiers roll up with Jeff in an SUV. They raid the sedan for the black box. He approaches them and says, he's sorry, a traitor's a traitor. And then he takes them into custody.
It looks
All right.
like it's bad for our kids.
We wanted it to be Howard, but it was Jeff, and he's
Jeff.
being a mean old guy.
Fucking Jeff.
Later that night, because apparently it takes forever to get to the office.
It was just about to be sunset when we were at the Fletcher residence.
Yes. On the way to Area 51, the driver notices headlights all over the highway coming up. They slow down. It's a roadblock. Howard is there with his own soldiers to stop them. They take everyone out of Jeff's SUV, and Jeff asks what he's doing, and Howard says he's cleaning up a mess. They put Lana Chi back where she belongs, and now it's their turn. Mulder asks why he's doing this, and he says until now he had a spotless career record, and he wants that back. Scully and the men circle, Mulder and Fletcher facing each other very much as they did when this all started. A ripple washes over them, and suddenly they've traded places again. Mulder in his street clothes with Scully, Fletcher in his suit with his men, each getting back in their respective cars. Mulder and Fletcher give each other another glance as Morris lights a cigarette.
I need to nitpick on this one.
Oh, well, okay. All right.
What's with the clothing change?
Because it goes back to the way it was.
But it's not time and space. It appears to just be space. I mean...
Fletcher said it was time.
At some level, this is confusing for me because...
Oh, absolutely. It's confusing.
Yeah, like, how do the clothes change? I know the technique they're doing here. It's like, they're visually telling us that everything that just happened has been undone. We're back to this point in time, and it's all going to be fine. But yet, changes have happened in the rest of the world. Mulder's apartment is now...
well, they addressed that in another episode. They do. I'm not even kidding.
Fair, but I'm not watching that episode. I'm watching this episode where he walks into his apartment. He's in there for a moment. He looks out at am I in the right apartment? He has that look at the end. But this stands at odds with the idea that there has been change affected in this universe that happens outside of this moment. I mean, I guess this is...
It's the whimsical nature of it, sir. Has everything gone back to normal? Could everything possibly ever go back to normal? Is there a glimpse of what was still here? You gotta just have a sense of adventure, Andrew.
Oh, I do have a sense of adventure. It's let me come through this episode unscathed, but I feel like if the rule is that they are going back to zero, then they can't have those comic touches of the apartment has been changed and the dime and penny are still in her desk drawer. I'm not saying that general relativity allows for this. Listen, I read the first 4 pages of A Brief History of Time, and that's all I need about general relativity. But I'm just going to take it from the average Fox viewer who is going to go, okay, I guess we're back there. But I don't know. There's just something I didn't like about they're having it both ways. They're having their cake and they're eating it too. And I guess I am unconvinced.
So even though these 2 episodes are written as comedies and where you expect the unexpected and you allow for flights of fancy and jokes and things that don't normally happen, this still is too much for you for a comedy.
It feels lazy. I mean, I expect a lot from these guys because they are so good and they have done amazing work. And it just feels like they ran out of gas and needed a way to get out of this impossible situation. So they made it was all a dream, and I just feel like it's kind of beneath their talent. I feel like they could have found something else. I don't know what that is, obviously, because they crafted the ski hill, that got us to this point. And it's like, oh, we got to get on of it somehow. But
all right.
Anyway, yes, Matt saying the phenomenon didn't reach all the way to DC before snapping back. Sure. I just feel like
that's a good explanation.
Change. That was a little bit too on the nose for me.
It's a good explanation, although it kind of undoes the end of this episode because Scully says no one noticed, and therefore she's not fired anymore. So, unfortunately, I guess that's not true.
yeah. They noticed. Yeah,
I do admit there's inconsistency. Absolutely, there is.
A little sloppy. All right.
Let's just go into final thoughts. We're there.
Yep.
They go back to normal.
There's some wrapping up to do. I won't deny you of that. My goodness.
No, you're fine. Okay, so they go to Mulder's apartment. He steps off the elevator. As Scully calls from the bullpen, they got away with their little trip. No one is the wiser. She apologizes the source didn't pan out, and he thanks her for indulging him in his little escapades. He unlocks the door and closes it behind him. Scully looks at her desk and sees the fused penny and dime together. With a twinkle of Mark Snow's music, we are left to wonder if everything went back to normal. Mulder then peeks out of his apartment door and checks the number. Something has changed. But what?
But what, I say? Something's not right with the universe.
Yeah, Matt saying Kirsch would remember everything since he was outside of the affected area, which means Scully is still very much fired, but that did not happen.
No, needed to keep her in the show.
Well, give me your final thoughts. I think we've covered a lot of mine, so I won't belabor the point. But
you're allowed to belabor. All right. As a concept episode, started off extremely well. It's an opportunity to have a casual exploration of what life in Area 51 might be like, the life of a man in black, as opposed to just casting them all as the usual villains, and our heroes risking life and limb to ferret out discoveries behind the chain link fence. But the resolution they plot out, that the warp in the space-time continuum will naturally snap itself back into place, reverting all that has happened in the past 2 episodes to memories no one but the audience will ever recall, feels cheap and lazy, if perhaps the only real way they could write themselves out of the corner they'd painted themselves into. There are questions remaining they don't really have answers for, but ultimately we're not meant to care. So I guess I don't? ?
Fair enough. The episode does have its problems. I totally get that. And I've expressed those concerns with you along with people in the chat. And although it gets sloppy towards the end, and there's no denying it is a very sloppy ending, I look back on episode 1 and most of episode 2 and go, man, those were some good times. So I find myself enjoying both episodes a lot. And
it's like eating candy. Sometimes you know it's bad for you, but it still tastes so good.
My problem with this, with your line of thinking, like when you do something this big, how do you come back from it? And I feel like I'm forgiving in the sense where, like, I know it's big because you can tell from the beginning of Dreamland 1, this is a big concept for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, our characters are swapping bodies with other people. And in my head, it resolves itself like, okay, they're not going to remember this. There's no way they can come back from this and still have the same show. I mean, I think they could do it, but I think in my head, when I'm first watching this episode, I'm like, there's such a big concept here that I'm like, of course they're going to undo it somehow. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make it better. I just kind of accepted it at the beginning. So I'm less bothered by it, I guess, at the end. Is that fair? No, it's not objective at all. It's like I could sense where it was going, so it didn't piss me off when it happened. So that is kind of the leeway I gave this second part. But
okay. Let me compare it to some previous season Darren Morgan episodes, which we love, and are absolutely comic episodes. You know, they are not meant to be taken seriously. And I will have no problem with Jose Chung. I will have no problem with Clyde Bruckman. All of those, Humbug. they're all great episodes, and they are clearly not meant to be, you don't draw stuff from those episodes as these are going to be character notes we're taking forward. They are meant to kind of exist outside of the sort of character arc of our agents. So why do those work and Dreamland doesn't work for me? I think because they're just written better. They have a way out at the end, which makes it satisfying. Whereas for me, like, I don't know if you remember Dallas, the TV soap of the 80s or 90s. I mean, you're a little younger than I am, but I didn't watch it, but I knew of the big revelation they had between seasons where they had literally killed off a character, and he comes back at the beginning of the next season. He's literally having a shower, and it's this famous shower scene of, he turns around and he's suddenly there. And it turns out that the previous season had been a dream, and the writers had just decided they were going to just, abandon that whole season in order to bring back this actor / character. Yeah. So the viewers expressed their opinions in a variety of formats that this was unacceptable, And in that same vein, I look at this episode as, well, we had a lot of cool stuff happen and some fun things happen, but you've essentially wasted my time because, like, you're telling me that this all didn't happen. And
no, and I
guess that's the umbrage I take. Whereas
didn't
other
they
episodes,
do that in
they
Roseanne
walk
too?
away from stuff in better ways.
I think they did that in Roseanne. They killed Dan, but then they find out it's a dream or something. I don't know. I don't.
One of the children is recast, and so it's like you've grown up so much, and you almost look like a different person. Was the gag there? But
yeah, it is hard to keep things in order, like Matt's saying in chat here. That once you start messing with that stuff, you need to figure out a way to cover all your bases, which is almost impossible. But
yeah, well, and they knew going in it was going to be like that.
Yeah, I don't think what you described with Dallas is what's happening here in the sense that it's so egregious.
Season 4 of X-Files was a dream.
Just kidding.
But they've given themselves bigger stakes to play with. I mean, the transition from season 4 to 5, with the death of Mulder, that plot device was huge, and the question there is obviously to the viewer, how are you going to get out of this one? And they found a way, and it was really crafty. Whereas this just feels like, it snapped back and it's all been undone. So
fair enough.
I'm saying the same thing multiple ways.
God damn it, Andrew. God
damn it. Shall we read off the listener comment we have for this?
Yeah, you go ahead, sir.
It is from the gentleman in the chat, Mr. Matt Conrad, who says, again, I really enjoy both Dreamland episodes. Where part 2 falters, I think, is in the wrap-up.
Yep.
It's like from the past, he agreed with me.
We all know.
It really does feeling like they're running out of time and have to hurry to finish the episode. And there's a few holes in the plot when Scully says they have slipped under Kirsch's radar at the end. It doesn't make sense if the penny and dime Scully has are all still intertwined. It's like he's me. The phenomenon didn't reach DC. Kirsch should still remember everything. I'm inclined to forgive that stuff because I like the episode so much. Yep. I get stuff. I get it. Like, there are legitimately some great things. I would hate not to have the performance of Michael McKean in this, because it is very good. I mean, the Lone Gunman, like I say, pretty much anytime they're in, I will hand wave a lot of my objections. But
yeah. And thankfully, this is not the last time we get Morris Fletcher and the Lone Gunman.
Yeah.
So I think he made such an impression on this episode with them that they brought him back for season 9. So
absolutely
good stuff. Well, that is the episode. I appreciate everyone who joined us and everyone who's listening later on. And Andrew, despite our complaints, which are relatively in line with each other, I think so. This episode's pretty fucking good. I would give
still
the whole. That is true, although that bar is pretty low. That is pretty low. I would give this episode maybe a no. I'm just kidding. 75%. Thank Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.